The pit stop is vital to every race team's success. Pull off the track, let your team go to work. Change all 4 tires, fill the fuel cell, and make needed adjustments, all in 8 seconds or less.
Well, today, sadly, we're going to be talking about the death of a former IndyCar driver and team owner, a magnificent reopening of a museum, and the anniversary of one of the most iconic races in America, if not the world. Hey, this is the Pits Are Open, presented by Speed Sport, your one-stop shop for automotive racing news. Speedsport.com. Also helped by Redline Ace, the company you want to go to if you need any graphics at all for logos, car deliveries, uniforms, haulers, whatever you've got. Redline Ace can handle it. Redlineace.com. Good to see you guys. Happy to be back. We had a great time out in Indianapolis. I don't know what you thought about the show. We did the whole show on the road last week. And Alex, I want to say a tremendous word of thanks to you because you got it all done. How was that? Was that hard putting all that together?
It was stressful. There were a few points I was worried it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Because the iPhones don't play nice with other devices. They're a little tricky to get working sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I wish I had a different, I did the whole thing with a phone and a I don't know, what do you call that? On the road, a location camera mount with lighting and sound. And it was funny because when we did part of that, and I have to say special thanks to Mike Lashmitt letting us use Vintage Indy for the first part of that recording. Of course, we're at the museum, which was fantastic. And then we went to the Delora IndyCar factory, and they allowed us to do the interview with Christian Rasmussen and Wes Zirkel. One of the guests, I won't say who, I think they're a little nervous. And so they set us up at this really nice table, but it was one of those plastic folding tables. And one of the guests would, like, when they were making a point, put their hand down, and I don't know if you noticed it watching, but they like shake the camera and like, oh no. So it was great. It was I gotta say the museum was fabulous. I went into it a bit skeptical. I don't like change. I know it was outdated. I know it wasn't, top tier in terms of museums, but I always liked having a close proximity to the cars, and I was very concerned that would be taken away from the fans. And I got to say something. I walked out of there a believer. I mean, they got me from the very first beautiful display of garages representing Gasoline Alley over the decades. But when they had this multimedia beginning to the part where, and having been on the grid several times before the start of a race, right before the start of the race, pushing the car off onto the track, I was really taken aback and teary eyed. I was teary eyed at one point. It was so magnificent. The playing of taps, the national anthem, Back Home Again in Indiana, Gentlemen Start Your Engines, Drivers Start Your Engines. So I'm telling you what, the museum at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, even if you're not into racing, you need to go. It's that good. It really is. Sadly, we had a report over the weekend, former IndyCar driver and former NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series owner Shigeki Hattori passed away in a car accident, which is bizarre. He competed in Indianapolis twice, made 34 career IndyCar starts, drove for people like A.J. Foyt, Benthausen Motors, Treadway Racing, and then had a NASCAR team, won the championship in 2018. And Saturday morning or Sunday morning early was in a car accident and passed away. So we prayers for his family, and always tough to lose a good guy, a well liked, extremely well liked driver as well. So that was happening, and we've got a good show for you today. Oh, let me talk to you about our book for a moment. Oh gosh, I can't believe I forgot. Spirit of Speedway, the greatest, I've been told, the greatest children's book ever written about people's dreams and aspirations about the big 500-mile race. It's written on a third grade level. It's a great book for your kids, your grandkids. Great way for you to spend time reading with them. It's loaded with fast facts about the track, about the sport, about drivers, cars. Really a great piece of work, and we're proud of it. We really are. We want to use it to help many, many kids fall in love with IndyCar like I did when I was a kid. And so you can go online or go to our newsletter. Go to our website, thepitsareopen.com, and get information about it there. You can go to Amazon, get the book on Amazon. It's available. So we'd love for you to do that. Also, when you go to our website, thepitsareopen.com, make sure you sign up for our newsletter. We do a weekly newsletter, and we're not going to bombard you with stuff. It comes out on Tuesdays. And it's got some great racing news that we're able to use. Our good friends at Speed Sport, we get permission to use all their content. And it'll have a preview of the show, what we're happening in terms of guests, what we're talking about. So we really want you to sign up for the newsletter. It'd be so helpful for us. And whatever platform you're watching on, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, please like, comment, share, and specifically on YouTube, we want you to subscribe. There's going to be a change coming to the YouTube channel, and I'll tell you what we're doing about that maybe to this week. I don't think we're going to do it until next week, but we'll talk about that. So please check us out. The newsletter's great. pitsareopen.com for the website, and sign up for the newsletter. Do it today. In fact, we're going to run a promotional. Let's start it now. Alex, you want to start it now? Let's start the promotional now. We're going to give away a personalized copy, autographed personalized copy of The Spirit of Speedway for everybody that signs up for the newsletter. You'll go into a drawing between now and next, Tuesday, the next time we release the newsletter. So if you go to our website, pitsareopen.com, top of the page is a banner, click on sign up for our newsletter. And for those who sign up from now until, and we can track that, so we know who you are, or what date you sign up on. From now until Tuesday, you'll be in a drawing to get, and we're going to give, what are we going to give away? 2 or 3 of these. I think we may give 3 of these away. Personalized autographed copy of The Spirit of Speedway, our gift to you, coming to you free and postage paid. So we hope that you'll participate in that. And get your friends to sign up for the newsletter as well. You know, there's no better way. I mean, this is the tried and true marketing. There's no better way to convince people is to give a personal testimony. So if you have a friend that likes racing, and say to them, hey, there's this show on, I think it's a great show. I watch it. You should watch it. You can listen to it as a podcast, Spotify. You can watch it on YouTube, Facebook, different channels. Get them to watch the show. Get them to sign up for the newsletter. Tell them they sign up for the newsletter this week. They'll get an opportunity to get I think, a pretty cool book, personalized, free, no charge. We'll send out 3 of them over the next week, and we'll watch for folks to sign up. It's pretty exciting. All right, I think our first guest is out there right now. We've got an incredible first guest today. This is just an amazing thing how things happen. Our next guest has an incredible resume. I pulled something off the internet, 3 full pages. It was a driver, very successful driver, run a Formula 3 championship, West Coast Formula Atlantic champion, Pacific Coast Racing champion, has set national qualifying records. It was a driver for the Toyota Atlantic Championship. He was an instructor at my alma mater, Skip Barber Racing School. Raced in the Baja 1000, Pikes Peak, Hill Climb. I mean, unbelievable. And then after hanging up his helmet, went into a really extensive career in journalism, broadcasting, ESPN, NASCAR announcer, radio program, podcast, and somehow I convinced him. Unless he's come out of the anesthetic at this point, I convinced him to come on the show. So we want to welcome for the first time to the Pits Are Open, our good friend Kurt Hansen.
Wow. Well, after that, I don't even know how to follow that up. I was lucky because I got work release in the perfect time today to be able to come on the show. And I got so excited. I went and got a pedicure. But
I got to do that.
Yeah, I got to correct. I wasn't a Formula 3 champion. I had a cup of coffee over there with I was Formula Atlantic champion on the West Coast, Pacific Coast Road Racing Championship. You're right. There's there is a lot there, and
Yeah.
I
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe when I pulled it off the internet. I said,
Yeah, yeah.
I can't even read all this. It'll take too much time.
yeah, you hardly know by looking at me that I'm 96 years old, but. If that book's at third grade level, I got to wait 1 year and then I'll be able to read it. That's why I
Right in
talk.
queue.
Yeah, that's why I talk
So,
for a living. But
Uh,
yeah, it is funny how we connected. And I used to spend a lot of time in your backyard.
yeah.
We still haven't clarified. Is it Sally's or Pepe's? We haven't clarified that yet.
Well, I'm going to have to go outside I'm going to have to go off the reservation. That's not politically correct. I'm going to go with modern pizza just because it's safe. But I think really around here, it's pretty equally split, Kurt. I think
I agree.
50-50 Sally's Pepe's. Oh.
Yeah, I agree. And then back in the day, there was Chuck's Barbecue in downtown New Haven. It was great. And then, of course, Richter's Bar, Louis' Lunch. Louis' Lunch has got to still be there.
Oh, it is. It's unbelievable. It's where they invented the hamburger.
Well,
all you can get it is on toast, and you can't get ketchup. They won't serve ketchup.
And if you go in and order it, it's a hockey puck between two pieces of burnt toast.
Yeah.
They might put a little mayo or something. If you order any other way, it's like the soup Nazi. Go stand over there. And of course, it'll be 15 degrees outside, and there is no over there because the place
it's a tiny. I mean, it's a tiny little hole. Now, why do you have so much Connecticut background?
I spent some time in the penitentiary there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my first marriage, the practice run. Lovely lady, lovely family. Like you, a pastor, the Greek Orthodox Church in Orange, Connecticut, where I was baptized. So, and then things changed. So, but
things
my first
happen, life
marriage,
happens,
and we're still great friends. I introduced her to her new husband a few years ago.
Oh,
so share and share alike, right? Yeah. But I like Connecticut. It's got the last time I was there, I was announcing for Pirelli World Challenge and doing CBS TV for PWC and Lime Rock, as you and I already discussed. I mean, I can remember when I was back there, Indy 500 on Sunday. Of course, you can't race on Sunday at Lime Rock. Right. No.
You start an engine at Lime Rock.
Yeah, and then you race up there on Monday for the IMSA race. A lot of good memories there. I like Connecticut a lot.
First professional race I ever saw, I was 8 or 9 years old. 9 years old. 1968 Trans Am race. I think Mark Donahue won in a Penske Camaro.
Shocking.
Yeah. It was wonderful. So,
we have a lot of Trans Am guests. We have all the A-listers on Race Central Radio. But I just had Adam Andretti on last Friday. I mean, they're all Dreezy. Greg Pickett was one of my mentors when I started racing. Bob Lovenberg, Tom Gloyd. So I have a deep appreciation and love for Trans Am, and I
do too.
As much as I love, Long Beach Grand Prix and the Indy cars, still one of the best sounds you'll ever hear is the sounds of big V8s between the high rises.
The bridge at Lime Rock, right? There's nothing like a big block Corvette coming under that bridge and shaking your pants off. I mean, that's but it's funny. In '68, like I'm a kid, I don't know anything, right? Donahue, Peter Revson, George Fulmer. I think maybe PJ ran that year. I mean, guys that would become legends, in the sport.
Elliott Florence Robinson, EFR was back there.
I never even knew who it was. It was so cool. So,
good stuff.
What did you like driving best, Kurt? Of all the cars you raced in, what did you like best?
Oh man, what a question! It's like asking me how long a piece of string is. I mean.
Who's your favorite kid?
I've driven Formula 3. I've driven Atlantics. I still have my Atlantic car, and I still
Atlantic cars are cool.
Yeah, Swift DB4. I won a couple championships in it. Set a bunch of lap records. We still run it very competitively when I have the time or the money.
Really?
I mean, everything that I have driven is so universally different than everything else. It's kind of like between an F-14. A Piper Cub and a Cessna Tomahawk. Which one do you like the best? I mean, they're all. Baja is its own deal.
I was going to say, did you like 1,000 miles? Was that like during the daytime and evening?
Well, so you're right. It's 24 hours. So I ran from the year I ran it. There's two different courses. They go tip to tip, finish in La Paz, and they do what's called the the circuit where they start in Ensenada, they finish in Ensenada, or not the circuit, but Dementia. It's escaping me. So the year I did it, I did the tip to tip, and so I was in with Paul Newman from Ensenada to Val di Trinidad. Then Jim Hancock, who was one of the organizers of the Centrex team, we ran Baja buggies, literally ripped me out of the car by my epaulets and stuck me in a van. And then I was supposed to get back in and navigate for Roberto Guerrero in the middle of the night. And a bunch of the IndyCar guys were with us, Sebastian Bourdais, Oro wasn't there, but Mario Dominguez. But they whacked their cars. And so they didn't finish. And so they started sending me back to San Diego. And they said, "Oh my God, wait, one of us back on the road. Can you turn around and, get down to wherever?" And I'm like,
wow.
The van guy's like, "No, never going to make that." So, but I got to tell you, incredibly epic. It will change you. It's just, I don't know how to, it's like the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. I mean, I was on the board of directors for almost a decade. I've announced it for ESPN, Speed TV. I did the Red Bull broadcast the year Sebastian Loeb broke the record. I've emceed or anchored the radio broadcast from the summit a dozen times.
Yeah.
It is, everything about those events is much different, but I guess if I have to be kind of a homer, I still love getting in my Atlantic car and going on. And I've had some IndyCar tests and that kind of stuff, but a test is a test. You're really not, you're testing. You're figuring out if you know how to drive the damn thing. But my Atlantic car, it's kind of like putting a bathing suit on. It's hard to forget.
That's good. That's good. And then how did you get into broadcasting?
Oh boy. So I was born and raised in a family of cars with my dad, and always was into cars, and through the good graces of the Lord and everybody else, became a very talented ski racer and ended up racing around the world. I was Olympic hopeful for the 1980 Olympics, and traveling the world, of course, got exposed to a lot of different type of racing. My coaches used to always tease me because I'd be reading Auto Sprint or Auto Sport, or no matter where I was in the world, and I've been everywhere, lucky enough, which is very cool. And I quit the team under a big political brouhaha. If I kept my mouth shut and stuck with it, I probably would have been in Calgary in '84, I think that was. But it just kind of happened. I left the team. I got in the car business and saving my money. Went to the Jim Russell School. Then ended up racing the Jim Russell Series, and up kind of all morphed. And then I realized I better get serious and do something with my life, and started running car dealerships, and was doing that for a long time. Had a relationship with the Oakland Raiders for the broadcast team. And they had a motorsports show on Saturdays called Start Your Engines on KNBR, which is a big 50,000 watt stick. And I went up to the program director and I said, "That show's not very good." And he looks at me and goes, "Oh, can you do better?" I said, "Give me a shot." Absolutely. Well, Dale Earnhardt Sr. ended up passing the next weekend at Daytona. Lee Hammer called me and said, "Hey, do you think you can do 2 hours by yourself this weekend?" And I said, "No problem." And the rest is kind of history. Started doing work for ESPN. Was doing a national radio show at the ESPN Zone in Vegas, and met a young lady from Denver. Started commuting, and next thing I know, I moved here to marry my sadly recently departed wife of 22 years, but. And just started building the platforms, the newsletter, same as you're doing, the websites, the streaming content, the podcast, the video cast, Primetime Drive ESPN radio show, globally distributed TV show, all under the Race Central banner. Yeah, if you Google me, you'll get about 3 or 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah, there's a number of things that come up. It's pretty
Stuff, and it's all legal. That's the best part. Yeah, I don't want to lie to the faster pastor. Do I have to go to confession after this?
no.
Oh, good. I was sweating that out a little bit.
You're fine. It's funny you say Denver. We've got one of our investors. He and his wife. It's an interesting situation. He lives in Atlanta and has a home in Atlanta, and she is a very well-known, well-respected, beautician person. Has a number of salons, and so she lives in Denver. He lives in Atlanta, and they commute long distance, and it works, and it
Yeah.
works. And then because of his investment in our team, he ended up buying a house in Indianapolis too. So he's got a house in Indianapolis. he's got a house in
Wait, I got it. Is he in Carmel or is he in Indy? Or is he in
He's
Brownsburg?
actually in Indy, yeah.
All right.
Close to Founders Square. I mean, just not in Founders Square, but just south of Founders Square. They did a whole redevelopment area, and I think it was one of those HGTV shows, Two Chicks and a Hammer or something. I think
that I heard that's late night television. Don't they air that on the Spice
This is
Channel?
legit.
Two Chicks and a Hammer.
Anyway, it says it's a beautiful home, And so, but he said if we had never invested in our team, he would have never really. I mean, his grandfather used to be a pastor in Indianapolis. I mean, Speedway, in fact. Anyway, but Denver's a great place. I love Denver.
It's okay,
and it's a good place.
It's beautiful today.
I mentioned in the opening, Kurt, we have the anniversary of one of the most iconic races, certainly in the United States, if not in the world. And again, another situation where I went on the internet and pulled off 3 pages, and I could have done more. I mean, I didn't even realize now what I love about it was, and I didn't know this, it started as a Formula 5000 race.
Yep.
And I loved Formula 5000. I thought that was a great series.
Yep. So did I. And a lot of the Formula 5000 cars kind of did double time as Can-Am cars, body Formula 5000 cars, the Lolas. Yeah. But and it's the 50th anniversary this year. We're shooting a Race Central TV, a special edition we do every year there at Long Beach. I've emceed Fan Fest. I've announced the race countless times. Announced the World Challenge races there. I mean, that's kind of a home to me. This will be my 45th year, maybe 46th.
Wow.
It started in 75, and it's interesting. Depending on the stories you read, Chris Pook gets a lot of the credit for founding it, who was the President Champ car for quite a few years. And he had moved from England, came to Long Beach and started a travel agency. Well, if you knew Long Beach back in the 70s, the only place you were traveling was to the lockup. I mean, it was a real rough town. I call it the mean streets of Long Beach. And then depending on whose story you believe or hear, it was Lou Marable, who was a Lotus car dealer in Long Beach, Jim McCallion, and then this one I can verify because I knew him very well, bless his soul, John Queen Sr. John Queen owned an auto air conditioning company, a little building on Los Alamitos. And let's just pretend for the moment that it was just he and Pook. Well, John created a foundation called the Committee of 300.
Okay.
To get all these people in Long Beach to come and volunteer to get the race off. And to this day, the Committee of 300 is such a powerful entity in the city of Long Beach and for the Grand Prix. But I mean, who'd have ever thought? And Pook went to the mayor and said, "Hey, I want to do this race. I want to model it after Monaco." The guy's like, "Man,
right? I read that. Yeah,
whatever you're on, I want some." But he was like, "You know what? All we got is bums and flop houses and the Pussycat Theater. So why not?" They had 46,000 people.
Yeah,
the first year for Formula 5000 in 76.
Amazing.
A lot of people talk about the 77 races. That's the race I remember where Mario Andretti passed Jody Scheckter with a few laps to go, hotly pursued by Niki Lauda to win the 1977 edition. Yeah. So, and the Grand Prix been through some rough times. Once they realized they couldn't afford or wanted to pay the Formula One franchise fees, they switched to IndyCar.
And which was that, mid 80s?
I want to say 83, 4. Might have been 5. It's
And that's really it was economics. Is that
Yeah, oh,
really
yeah.
the thing that
because they didn't want to
kept
pay
it from continuing as Formula One?
Yeah, they didn't want to pay the rights fees to Bernie Ecclestone to have Formula One because it wouldn't make them profitable. And I can remember sitting in a very luxurious motorhome with John Queen, and I can say because he's passed, and a couple of very, very, very name recognizable big boys, and I'll just. I don't know. I can't use his name. I think he's still alive. He looks at John. He goes, "Man, did we screw the pooch?" It's Friday afternoon and there's nobody here.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the first year of IndyCar, Mario Andretti won it in the Budweiser.
Oh, really?
car.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it was a really good race, but there wasn't that many people there, and I think there was a lot of genuine concern early on that we built this thing. It's like Dunkin' Donuts. They sell donuts. You take donuts out of Dunkin' Donuts, and you get coffee and sandwich. And the brand shift was pretty severe, but boy, have they proved. I call it the Monte Carlo of American open wheel racing.
It really, truly is. Oh my gosh, I've got a fast fact here, Kurt. Last year's Acura Grand Prix drew. I can't believe this, but it says it 194,000 people.
It's probably more than that. That's what they can kind of guesstimate. I mean,
oh my gosh.
I'm there. I'm everywhere all weekend long, and I got to tell you, it's a lot of folks. And
I mean, that's bigger than most Formula One races for in-person attendance.
It could be. And what's interesting is the way
it's huge.
Is the way that Jim McCallan, who's done a phenomenal job there, and Chris Esslinger, who's right-hand man, who's director of communications, how they got through that COVID thing. You probably heard about it. It was in the papers. And then they brought the race back in September, which was the original 45,000 races in September. The weather was spectacular. It was beautiful. Massive crowd. I think everybody just wanted to get out. And then had to go and turn it around and come back 6 months later for the April race, their normal date. I don't know how they do it, but Italian's a pretty amazing man, and so is Chris, and so is that whole team.
So you're going out, right? You're going out
for
a big one? Yeah.
Yeah. Dark 30 tomorrow morning. Got to be there for the media luncheon at noon. My flight leaves Denver at 9:30. I get into Long Beach. They'll have a shiny, fancy press car for me right there at the VIP pickup. I'll jump in that thing. I'll run up, and we'll shoot some TV during the media lunch and some stuff on Friday.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I'll tell you, I enjoyed getting to know you in our conversation the other day, and looking at, just pulling off this stuff off the internet, I'm like, my gosh, what a history this gentleman has. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, you've really been blessed in motorsports. I mean, you've had some incredible opportunities.
I've been pretty blessed all the way around. The last year and a half or so has been pretty rough, but what am I going to do? The old saying, what's an old guy going to do in a small town?
Yeah.
So I just keep persevering. But
well, listen, make sure when you're out there, text me some pictures or something.
Yeah, I'll be. Yeah, I see. I think we are now friends on Facebook. I see we hit LinkedIn.
Okay.
And
definitely LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll definitely get some stuff off to you. But yeah, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and as I call you, the faster pastor.
Well.
And maybe we'll be able to rock this cradle and see if we can make it.
Yeah, I could see us working together a little bit. I think
that'd be a lot of fun. Say hi to Joe and Ralph. I know Ralph will be at the beach. He'll be calling the race.
Ralph's coming on next week. He'll be on the program next week. So
yeah, no doubt.
We'll get a little bit of recap from him. So
yeah, he and I are both from the same part of Northern California. So small world, man.
It is a small world.
It only gets smaller. Yeah. As my hair shrinks, so does my group of friends. But well,
if my circle of friends gets any smaller, it's gonna be a straight line. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, that's.
Well, listen. Thank you again. I appreciate you taking time out, especially getting prepped to leave early tomorrow for Long Beach. And congratulations on a great career. And we'll talk soon.
Soon. Can I plug my website?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
So we do a Friday radio show on ESPN here in Denver from 3 to 5 Mountain Time, AM 1600. But you can listen streaming at racecentral.live. You just click on the ESPN link and listen. It's we have all the listers, and it's a very, very good list. I'll leave it at that.
Good.
Also,
Good.
Race Central TV. Check your local broadcasters and times for areas and market. We're nationally and globally distributed. And the website is racecentral.live. So check us out. The podcasts are there, the video casts, and more of my shenanigans too.
I gotta tell you, I don't know where you're doing some cryogenic like
Oh,
relaxing.
yeah!
I saw that on social media. I was wet myself. I'm like, what is he doing here?
It is amazing. I'm old and I'm still on TV, so I got to try to look better. And so I get the cryogenics done now, 2 minutes below 200 degrees, and it makes you feel alive. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I would tell anybody to do it. Then I get the red light therapy for my face. Promotes collagen growth, and I'm going back in about an hour to get my facial so I can look really good. But cryo is unbelievable.
That was funny, Kurt. I couldn't tell if that was real that you really did that, or that was like you were, that was somebody's shower. You're just like pretending.
No.
Now I'm going to go home and stick my head in the freezer for a couple hours.
Well, no, don't do that because you won't get the same effect. The whole idea is to shock the body, and that's where it stimulates all the. I got out of there, and I felt like I was tingling. It's amazing. I'm going to do it.
I've never heard of it before. That was just saw that today, so I just happened to be.
It's life changing. I would tell you to do it. It's really good for your skin too because it gets everything working.
Yeah.
So it tightens up all that crap I've got.
All right. Kurt Hansen, everybody. Kurt, thank you so much. Have a great trip, and we'll talk when you get back.
You got it, Faster Pastor. Talk to you soon. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to take a break. A little promo from our good friends at Speed Sport. We talked about Trans Am. Get a watch of this. It's pretty cool. We'll be right back.
This week on Speed Sport 1, Wednesday starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll have an encore replay of the Formula Regional Americas Championship, Race 1, 2, and 3 from NOLA Motorsports Park. On Thursday starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll have new episodes of Prime Cuts. This week, we'll take it to Georgetown Speedway and this year's IMCA Iowa Spring Nationals from Clay County Speedway. On Sunday, it's 6 hours of National Rock Racing starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. Go to speedsport1.com for details and viewing options.
Hi, welcome back. We were just arguing F1 attendance versus. Anyway, yes, good. That Kurt Hansen, yeah. So
it is, by the way, it is over the weekend. It's not just a single day
because Indianapolis is still the big dog.
Oh, definitely.
330,000 on one day, still the largest single day sporting event in the world, and we're happy about that. So we've been very, very fortunate to have Kurt on the program. We're I'll tell you, talk about being blessed. I feel blessed, Alex. We get some of the best guests we've had for a relatively new show. We have had some phenomenal guests on, and as I mentioned, next week Ralph Shaheen is going to be on, the other half of the dynamic duo for Speed Sport. We've had Joe Tripp on, and our next guest. I'm getting to know our next guest, and I don't know. I consider him. He's becoming. I think we're becoming friends. I think I could say that. He has impressed me beyond measure with his kind of daily word of wisdom, encouragement, lessons learned. He's doing a great job working with Santino Ferrucci, Brady Bacon, Taylor Reimer. Just doing a great job, and not a long history in motorsports for what he's doing, and so. I'm excited to have him back. I guess I should feel good that he said yes to come back. But coming from undisclosed location, I don't know where he's coming from. JP Murray Racing. JP, welcome back.
Hey, great to be with you, Will. To be specific, they could see us live right now on exit or mile marker 122, Highway 26 in South Carolina. We're headed up to see Kent State Central Michigan softball action this
Oh,
weekend.
good,
So
good. Is
yeah,
that one of
I
your daughter, right?
yeah,
Plays?
my daughter. I hate to miss one of my favorite races in
Oh,
the world, the
you
Long
know
Beach
what?
Grand
I have
Prix.
respect for
But
that. When my daughter was playing softball, volleyball, cheerleading, I never missed anything. In fact, I had to come home 2016 500. I had to fly home because she was graduating from
is
college.
that
I'm like,
right?
I'm
Yeah.
not missing that one. That was an
Not
expensive one, but I respect you for doing that. I think it's awesome.
well, thank you. Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah,
miss an inning this season. So
good,
good thing
good.
is that they don't overlap that much,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
there's a few times. But great
Good,
to be
good,
with you, Will. The
good.
show is fantastic. I love
Thank you.
this is you're doing this is extraordinary and enjoyed every guest so far.
Yeah,
Just
we've been
awesome.
so
I just
fortunate
want to
to get
keep it
them. I mean,
going if I can.
last week we had Christian Rasmussen on and
Yeah,
Wes Zirkle Motorsports and worked for Zach Brown for gosh years,
yeah.
and just quality folks. And we're just very thankful, and like yourself, very thankful that we have
Thank
these
you.
quality folks. I got to tell you,
Well,
every time you pop up on my feed, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever, I stop because I'm like, okay, here's something you want to hear. Tell for the folks that haven't watched before a little bit of your background. You've got an
oh,
enormous history in secular business world, and then you
mhm.
transition to motorsports, which that might need counseling for that. But I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Tell us about your background.
Well, thank you. I actually got started my professional career came from Oklahoma. I was born and raised there. I went to Washington D.C. and I started getting involved in the association world, trade associations.
Yeah,
Like we many of you all would know the PRI show and
yes,
SEMA
yeah,
and groups like that. Then in the motorsports industry, so I worked for trade associations, namely the United States Chamber of Commerce, which is the
mm,
largest association in
big,
the world. And
big.
and what yeah, that was great experience because I was able to learn from leaders in a variety of different industries, whether it was automotive or
Mhm,
hospitality, crane and rigging, you name
mm,
it. I got to learn about all those different business types and sales and business development within that. So
mhm,
those experiences in associations were fantastic. And then I got a call from Jimmy Vasser
mm,
about a decade ago. And Jimmy says, "Hey, we're going to start an IndyCar team up, and we understand you're passionate or you enjoy motorsports, and would you like to become involved?" And I said, "Hey, Jimmy, thank you, but I kind of had an idea how about how the budgets for that kind of thing to get involved." And I said, "I'm just not that kind of a player yet." He says, "No, we want you because of your business connections, and we think you can help out." So fast forward, I started to sponsor in a small associate way that Vassar Sullivan number 18 with Sealmaster
mhm,
car. And things went well in my association. And then I launched a business development outsourced sales team, frankly,
mhm.
to sell for associations and trade shows. I had a great, fortunate exit from that. And during that time, I learned the value of motorsports partnerships because
Wow.
I used it for my own company. So I decided at that time, I'd gotten to know Santino, that you mentioned very well, and I started to see this opportunity to help race drivers and teams with funding so they can race more and
Mhm,
they can reach their dreams. So that's what I started to do. And then the documentation of the daily videos is really just me telling stories that I've learned through that journey
yeah.
and am learning every day in working with motorsports teams and drivers and selling
So
sponsorships for them.
I'm going to ask you to go to one of those because I was sitting there going, yes, yes, yes. I've been to so many conferences or so many seminars, Tony, and it's always passion, passion, passion. Chase your passion, follow
Yeah.
your passion. And you said it. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say it better than you said it. Can you kind of recap that talk a little bit
Oh,
for us?
yeah. Oh, I was talking about, I'm starting to learn that there are things that are useful but not true.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
that is maybe I think Eric Sievers wrote a book about that. But don't I said these are things that I've learned that just aren't truths. And one was I said don't follow your passion. because I think what I've learned was your passion doesn't tell you if you got a business model that works, whether you're good enough to be a part of it. Yeah, I'm passionate enough to be the center fielder for the Yankees, but it doesn't mean that I should follow that, you know. And so, and that you've got the skills to sustain that passion over time. So I not only addressed that, but I also talked about don't fixate on the competition, because then you'll look more like the competition when you really ought to be focusing on how you're unique. So I also talked about in that episode, I think, beware about the average wanting to pull you back to what they want you to be. So, and not to listen to too many people. And the final thing was, man, there are going to be challenges in every station in life. And so you might as well do something that's worthwhile and that helps people out and that you can sustain and get motivation from. The reason why I mentioned that was I'm in a community now where, and an age where a lot of people are getting out of the game, whatever
Yeah,
their
yeah.
game is. And I see these folks and they're pretty bored and they've got their own challenges at that stage. So my view is you might as well keep doing something, because there's going to be pain and challenges and obstacles regardless of what your role is. So you might as
Mhm,
well do something that's worth doing and that
mhm.
fulfills you.
Yes, yes, and I mean, Sylvester Stallone says, "Keep punching." Right? I mean, doesn't matter what age or what stage in life you are. You might as well just keep being your best, be the best you can be competitive, and do whatever you can to help other people. I
Yeah,
mean, that's just
yeah,
it's
and
perfect.
you probably identified what those things are that are your strengths. And what do they say? Like the boxing analogy, the last thing to go is the punch,
Mm,
right? I mean,
mhm.
that's the late George Foreman proved that to us,
Wow.
right? As the oldest heavyweight champion of all time. So there's something that you can still do for, I think, an extended time and be valuable to people. I really do.
One thing that I heard that you mentioned a couple weeks ago, and I think this is so true, and it's something I struggled with. In fact, it's the reason we're doing this show, because we're trying to build something with a team, and we're going after sponsors and looking
Yeah.
for stuff. And I had person after person in the industry say to me, "You got to get out there more. You don't have a natural platform because you have a big team. You're still trying to get off the ground. You need to have a larger media presence. So you got to get out there." And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to do stuff like that. But
Mm.
you said, and I think this is so true for younger drivers, you've got to promote yourself. You can't be afraid to get out there and get yourself out there and feel like, well, you're being disingenuous or you're embarrassed about it. You've got to promote yourself. You've got to get out there. And I
Oh,
know so
yeah.
many drivers that think that they won't waste their time doing social media about what they're doing. But, they want to do, their day at the beach, which is fine, But if you're trying to attract sponsors, you've got to show value. And a lot of that you can do by having a media presence, right?
I think and if you do it in a way that's authentic, I'm not asking or I'm not encouraging entrepreneurs or drivers to do things that aren't authentic, right? Talk about the challenges. We're in this world that all we see are the home runs that are getting hit out of the park, and you don't realize all the failure that you stack to get to that point. So go ahead and be authentic and tell the real stories that are
Hmm.
that's what's happening in your career, because I think that will bring people toward you. The main reason that we do it, I think, is so people can get to know you better. And
Right.
the more they know you, and if they continue to want to know you better, those are the people that are the most likely going to be
Yeah.
your sponsor over time. I kind of read this the other day, and I'm starting to believe it, that in this new century, sales and business development will be all about relationships,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
because everybody's figured out through algorithms and everything whether the numbers work, right? Math, math works,
Mhm.
but the relationship may be the difference of whether someone makes a decision with you or without you. And if they're not aware of you and they're not connected to you, I don't know what your chances are going to be.
Well, and to
I
your
don't want that to
point,
be the problem for us, right,
you are
Will?
so over the target with that because I've been a pastor for over 30 years, 25 years at the church my wife and I started. We've been very blessed. It's grown. But we keep very careful records. And we spend money on social media, we spend money on digital advertising, we do all that. But we know over the years that 70% of the
Mm.
first time guests that come through the door come because they were invited by a friend or a relative. It's
Wow.
all relational.
Wow.
And you couldn't have been more exact with that. And I don't care if it's church or it's Chick-fil-A or it's racing. People who know you, who will recommend you, who feel comfortable with you, you'll have way more success with that group. That you can still do the other stuff. I'm not saying don't, but
Sure.
realize that the people that you have a relationship with are so important to you for that.
Will, I had a LinkedIn email from our last episode where a driver actually in Canada asked
Mm,
me about sponsorships. And he's frankly, look, I did the background, quite successful. But he's like, I want to do better. And I said, the thing that I've realized along this relationship thing is that the people that and the businesses that are closest to you right now are the most likely to do it. Sometimes we want, like, I'm guilty, right? And Will, I guess, I mean,
I
I'm
am
sure you
too.
are too.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
cast, man, we want that big rod and reel. We want to get off the dock and off the bank as far as possible, thinking that that's the big one that we're going to pull in. But I see that the relationships that are closest, the people that we've been able to sign up over the last couple years are coming from other relationships
yeah.
within the trade association community. Hey, you should call JP because he's in racing right now. So it's that's never going to go away.
Right.
So you
It's never
might
going to change.
just
Never
keep
going to change.
building it.
And
Keep
I think
building it.
more so now than ever because I mean, how many times you see kids go, they're on the phone, they're head down, they're not talking, they're not communicating because
Yeah.
they're being and so I think the personal relationship thing is bigger now than it's ever been.
Well, and the good thing about that thing is, it's the most important invention since the printing press,
Oh, for
in
sure.
that
Yeah.
we can distribute and communicate globally very fast, and frankly, stay connected to the people that we are close to,
Hmm.
that
Well, I
or
mean,
that we were
and
close
again,
to at one time.
I
So
say, this is where I see you most of the time.
there we go.
This
If
is,
it was,
I'm having coffee and I look up. Oh, there's JP. He's got something to say. So
we would
I'm not
never,
discouraging using that. I'm just saying that
yeah.
the personal relationship really does more for you than other things that we might think.
Or it may be the catalyst
Yeah.
for the personal
Hmm.
relationship. Like, I would encourage this: make sure that every driver, and I'm starting to see more of it and I'm encouraged by it, is that drivers and teams are leveraging LinkedIn, because that's where your sponsors are
Yeah.
living. They're
Right.
there. You should be on LinkedIn making content. It's going to be different content than, say, your your short reel or your TikTok or whatever it might be, and go ahead and do that. But man, your businesses and your
Sure.
sponsors and your CMOs are on LinkedIn, and fulfill your content on that platform as well. Super
And
important.
yeah, I'm sure you see it in your numbers. We get really good analytics out of LinkedIn. I'm
Yes.
amazed at the percentage of my viewers, our viewers, who are CEOs, who are CMOs, are higher end, C-suite kind of people. I may not be able to identify them readily. I don't know, but the percentages are like astounding to me. How many people that have the decision making power are looking at your content?
Well, let's put it this way. I would make this projection, and I'm pretty confident behind it. Every single company that could fulfill a full season sponsorship in a major racing series is heavily involved on that platform.
Yeah,
Whether they're
yeah,
there to
mhm,
recruit or to get out the
yeah.
words about their business or whatever it might be. So yeah.
100%. You're unique also because you're working with three drivers who are in totally different spaces. You're working with Santino in the IndyCar space, Brady Bacon, open wheel, but sprint car,
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure.
okay. And then Taylor Reimer, who is in ARCA and it's more stock car oriented. How do you maneuver those waters with those three vastly different series? I mean, I know there's some principles that are same and overlap, but they're three different, vastly different people, three different series, three different
Hmm.
cars. Three. How do you maneuver and
It
channel that?
super challenging to be focused on the cadence of those teams. I'll give you an example. Right now, full court press as we're approaching the Indy 500. Good thing, we've sold a lot of stuff, but there's still inventory available, right? And that has a very defined end date, right? Memorial Day weekend, it's over. Like I can't sell that again.
Right.
And it is it's the greatest sporting event in the world.
Right.
So I'm hyper focused on that, but at the same time, I'm trying to lay the groundwork and develop relationships and new ways of communicating with the companies for 2026
Yeah.
because we've got to have tangible conversations with them by September, October
Yeah.
of this
Yeah.
year. So you better be doing that right now. So the main thing is not getting diverted by, oh, the Knoxville Nationals are coming up. I got to do
Mhm.
something on that. And you've got to have as much long game as you can possibly afford with your time.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's challenging,
Wow.
whether you got one client or five
Right.
or
Right.
10,
Right.
you know?
Um. Wow. It's change the subject. So I
Yeah.
went to see the museum last week.
Oh, wow.
In years past, and I'm a fan. I can't help it. I'm a fan. I've been a fan since I was a little kid. Years past, I brought clients, sponsors to the old museum. Now, the old museum was outdated. I loved it. I didn't care. I'm a fan. But
Yes.
I could see it in the looks and the expressions sometimes here in the comments of people I would bring to museum. Oh boy, you would think this is a little bit better museum for the greatest racetrack in the world. Well, I got to tell you what, they did such a great job. I think any of us would be proud bringing any client or any sponsor to that museum today. This is a world class exhibit now.
I cannot wait. This is so topical. Will Santino and I were talking on the phone today as I was leaving, and he's getting ready for Long Beach, right? And he said, "What can we do special for our sponsors at Indy this year?" And I'm going, I don't know how we're going to pull it off, but I would start booking now. Let's see if we can book some people for some
Well, you
guided
got to get the
tours at the
tickets early for
Speedway.
the museum because they're
Yeah,
going to sell out. And they're
yeah.
online. And we were told this at the museum when I had Jason Van Sickle on
Mm,
2 weeks ago, who's the curator at the museum. He said, "Man, you got to get your tickets now for May." And
yeah.
they were selling them by, we had like 12 o'clock tickets. That's what time we got to go in.
Mm-hmm.
But it is so, and I was so concerned that they were gonna damage the proximity, fans to the cars. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Oh,
there wasn't anything I could criticize. I mean, it was just like this is so beautiful. It's so wonderful,
yeah.
and anybody would
Well,
like it. So I
I mean,
for me, that's where that's a great place now for fans and sponsors and clients. Yeah.
I want to take. I mean, I get super excited about the opportunity to have Larry Foyt and Santino and our partners walking through
Oh
that
gosh.
spot together. I
Oh
mean,
boy.
there's four winners there, and only one of them, that they're Foyt's one of those names. So
Hmm.
that's going to be a special benefit that I think we can offer people.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
whole lot of AJ in that museum. I'll tell you right
Oh,
now.
I cannot wait to see it.
There's some really cool stuff there, but again, I think you got to be creative with stuff. We used again, you probably have stuff, but we used George Bignotti is a legendary name in motorsports, winning mechanic for years,
Yes.
mechanic cars for Al Unser Jr., Mario. His daughter his daughter has a tour agency, and she gives and her folks in her company give tours at the track of the garage tours. And I mean, listen to her. It's like you're going back in history. It's like a who's who of racing because she grew up
Yeah.
with this legendary dad. But I think anytime, right, when you can do that for your client, your sponsor, I mean, those are golden moments.
Sometimes I miss it. It's like tee work in softball. Like I forget sometimes the unique, because we go to the races all the time, the unique aspect that motorsports has to offer as a platform
Yeah.
for business and businesses. I'm
Mhm.
reminded one of our sponsor guy was telling me a story. It, 30 people or so to races last year, and they closed 16 of them as new clients. And I can tell you the reason is they took them to races.
Yeah.
And when you're there and you're standing next to that prospect, and they see and they're close to the track, and I don't care what kind of racing it is, by the way. You
Yeah.
could
No,
do
you're
it
right.
at a dirt track too. It's going to be different. Get
Could be
them
the
ready
Chili
for it.
Bowl.
Could be the Chili Bowl,
Anything.
absolutely.
Right. Right.
Anything like that. And it's an extraordinary opportunity. And it's not like playing golf.
Right.
It's captivating. And that's the way you ought to be working that's the way the marketers should be working their
Yeah.
sponsorships.
Yeah.
They ought to be going to every
No.
race with their best prospects. No
I
doubt.
brought some folks to the 500 for the first time, and they're like little kids. They're like they can't, and you know this. There's nothing like the Indianapolis. The Indianapolis 500 is like the Kentucky Derby and the Super Bowl rolled into one. When
Yeah.
you get 330,000 people in one spot,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful, and the cars and the excitement, and it's multi-sensory. You hear it,
Yeah.
you see it, you feel it, you smell it. I mean, it's a phenomenal opportunity, and I'm
Yeah.
surprised, quite frankly, more companies are involved in motorsports.
If they don't call you back after you do that for them, then
Yeah.
that's your problem. I
Yeah,
don't know
for
what
sure.
you do. You know
No,
what
it's
I'm
something.
saying?
No, it's good. All right, we're almost out of time here. I can't. Again, thank you so much.
Oh yeah. Love it.
I sent that last minute invite out, and I was like, no, there's no way you can do it. But I'm so grateful that you're taking time for this. You mentioned in one of your talks that oh gosh, how long ago was it? It was a couple weeks back, but it really stuck in my thought process. You were talking about it might have been the same time when you talked about promoting yourself, but you were talking about being careful in terms of how you spend your time, not to chase things that really don't give value to what you're doing, right? I mean, there's a lot of good things you can do with your time, but there's some things that are really super important you should do
Yeah.
that you may have to not do something else to do.
You know, I had a thought on this the other day. There are very few people would disagree if you have a team of people, for example, that getting an A player is a difference maker. And often you hear them say, "Oh, man, if I had 5 more of her, we would be an amazing company. We would grow 100 times what we are right now." But we never spend any time getting 5 more of her,
Yeah.
right? We don't spend enough time on the thing. If I could come to you and said, if you do this, I can guarantee 5, 6 times the growth that you're getting right now, you'd move on it right away.
Right.
And we
Right.
know what a lot of those things are. We just don't spend the time doing it. So, and by the way, guilty of all those things.
No, yeah,
Right?
as well. No, for sure. Um, Gosh, I could listen. I could listen to you all day. I'm telling you. What's the best way for folks to tune into you, JP?
Oh, that's very kind. Um, well, I'll LinkedIn is the best
LinkedIn. Yep.
place because I put video podcasts up there as well as articles, so I'll match the format that you prefer to get
Yeah.
information on.
Mhm.
So JP Murray at LinkedIn, or my YouTube studio, JP Murray Racing Studios.
Yeah.
Thanks for promoting that, because we're getting great dialogue with people on LinkedIn
Good.
through emails.
Good.
It's a lot of
Good.
fun.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Well, listen, again, I appreciate your time. I'm learning from you all the time. When I
Same
grow up,
here.
I want to be JP Murray when I grow up. So, hey, thanks
Watch
so
out
much.
what you wish for.
Enjoy the softball game, and
Go
we'll talk
Golden
soon.
Flash. And
Thank
enjoy
you.
the Long Beach Grand Prix,
Going to
everybody.
be a good one. Going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks,
JP.
Will. You're
All right. Have a
you're the
great
best,
good
man.
trip.
Thank you.
Safety.
All right.
All right. Hey, that's it. JP Murray. We are out of time. Gosh, great show, Alex. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kurt Hansen. Great first time guest. Thank you, Speed Sport. Thank you, Redline Ace. Go to the website, pitseropen.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Get your copy of the book. Again, we're starting today. If you sign up for the newsletter today through next Tuesday, you will go into a drawing. We will be giving away 3 personalized editions, hardcover, not soft, hard copy editions of Spirit of Speedway, free and postage paid. So sign up for that newsletter today. Go to the website, pitseropen.com. Right on the top, click on for the website and sign up for our newsletter. We're so happy for you to do that. Well, that's it. Next week again, Ralph Shaheen does announcing for everybody. One of the most prolific announcers in the country will be our guest. We'll have someone else as well. Alex, thanks again. Good job, and love you guys. We'll see you next week.